Now, year 9, I want to go through this PowerPoint to give you examples of pathways in the nervous system. You should have your table copied out, which is this table. I wanted you to copy that into your book. You go through this lesson and you record the answers into your table. Now you can pause it as you go through. I'm going to discuss each one and give you examples. So starting off, the light receptors in the eye, your stimulus or your stimuli. If we were in school, we would be looking at this experiment where you're in an ordinary room, a light room, and as you can see, your pupil is small, your iris is big, the colored part is big. Then you turn off the lights and you go into a darkened room, and you can see that your iris gets very big. Your iris gets small, the pupil gets very big. Then you switch on the lights and you can see your pupil becoming tiny again, and the muscles in the iris have closed over to protect your eyes from the light, because the light will damage your eyes. So this is a response that your body has. It's automatic. You can't control it. You can't stop this happening. You have no control over it. It's involuntary. It's an involuntary response. Now, a lot of these responses are there to save you, to save your body from damage, to save your retina from damage. So you would go to your table and you would write stimulus or stimuli for the light receptors in the eye is light shining in the room. The light receptors in the eye pick up the stimulus and send it along a neuron, the sensory neuron. So you write in here sensory neuron to where? The association neuron in which part of the central nervous system is, if it's above your neck, the association neuron is in your brain. So you write brain in here. The impulse goes back down from your brain to your eye, to your iris, the muscles in your iris, along a motor neuron. So you write motor neuron in here. To the muscles in your iris, you write in here. What is the response? Your iris gets bigger. When the light shines, your iris gets bigger and covers over the pupil. Or whenever it's dark, the iris opens up to let more light into your eye. So that's the first one. Now you'll have noticed in here, along here, sensory neuron, association neuron, motor neuron is going to be the same for the middle three all the time. That's always the same. That reflex arc is what we need you to learn. Sensory neuron, association neuron, motor neuron. Okay, so we're on sound receptors in the ear. So going down this table, second row, sound receptors in the ear. You have a loud bang. There's somebody has shot a gun. So what do you fill in? Gunshot. Sound receptors in the ear. So stimulus, gunshot. Receptors, sound receptors in the ear. Sensory neuron. Yes, the information goes from your ear to your brain along a sensory neuron. So the sensory neuron takes the impulse, the information from your ear to your brain. To your brain. So association neuron, which part of the central nervous system is the brain? Motor neuron, you write motor neuron in here. The information goes back from your brain to where? To the muscles in your body. How are you going to react? So motor neuron in here to the muscles in your legs. Response, you run away. Somebody's firing a gun, you run. That's what you will do, your reaction. Remember, this is to keep you safe. Your nervous system is there to protect you from harm. All right, let me see. So back to the third one, balance receptors in the ear. So I've got the inner ear here where the balance receptors are. What is the stimulus? You start to fall over, you lose your balance. Balance receptors in the ear pick up the information. The impulse goes along, what do we have right in here? The sensory neuron. To where? To your brain. To tell you, so from your ear, the information goes along a sensory neuron to your brain to tell you to balance up again. How do you balance up? The information goes from your brain to your leg muscles, the muscles in your legs. So you're writing motor neuron in here, then muscles in your leg. What is your response? You tilt yourself back up again. You balance up, you stand upright. Now we're on to the fourth one. chemical receptors in the tongue. So what I'm going back to here, this picture of a lemon. So you've tasted something very bitter. What is the stimulus? A bitter fruit. It's the lemon. Chemical receptors in your tongue. So back here in your tongue, there's chemical receptors for bitterness. And whenever you get it, you get a bitter taste in your mouth. What are you going to do? You suck in your cheeks. That's how you react to protect yourself from the bitterness in your mouth. So sensory neuron takes the information where to. Everything above your neck goes to your brain. So it goes to your brain for the association neuron in your brain. What is it here? The motor neuron. The information goes back down to the muscles in your cheek. Muscles in your cheek is the effector here and tells you to suck in your cheek. Now, hang on, what was my next one? Chemical receptors in the nose. So you get a lovely dinner. I didn't get a picture of that one. So you get a lovely dinner and you get a lovely smell of chicken dinner. And you can smell the stuffing and the gravy and you're going, oh, this is going to be lovely. And what is the stimuli? The stimuli is the smell of your dinner. So the chemicals of your dinner go to your nose and the information goes along a sensory neuron from your nose up to your brain. Now, you're not aware of this. You can't stop yourself doing it, but it goes into a part of your brain that's automatic. You don't think about it. It's automatic, but it still is in your brain. And the information goes back down to your glands. Now, so far, we've mostly been doing muscles. Muscle in the iris, muscles to tell you to stand up, muscles to tell you to run away, muscles to tell you to suck your cheeks in. But now it's a gland. There's glands in here, salivary glands. So it's either a muscle or a gland. And in this case, it's coming back down along the motor neuron. So you just write motor neuron in here. Into the glands, the salivary glands here in your underneath here. And what does that tell you to do? That tells your mouth to water. Salivary glands. I did get an image. It was a slobbery dog. So the slobbery dog is salivating, is producing all this saliva, ready. What's he ready for? He's ready to eat his dinner. Now, he wouldn't care about Sunday dinner. He'd be looking for a big lump of raw meat. So, chemical receptors in the nose is the dog salivating. Pressure receptors in the skin. So I'm going back here to look at what image I've got. And you've got this reflex response here. You'd have seen it before where a doctor taps you underneath the knee and there's pressure. There's stretch receptors underneath your knee and your knee kicks up. And you can't stop it. You can't prevent yourself doing that. And the doctor does it to test your reflexes. Well, what are you doing? You're protecting your leg, the muscles in your leg from injury. So remember, this is all to protect yourself. So pressure receptors in the skin, what is the stimulus? You're hit under your knee with a hammer, hit with a hammer. Pressure receptors in your skin go along your sensory neuron. So you write sensory neuron in here. Now they go all the way up. Let me show you this. So the sensory neuron takes the information all the way up, an impulse all the way up, right up to your brain. So it's a big, massive, long, you drew them out there, the sensory and the motor neuron. So it's a big, long neuron, a big, long nerve that carries the information up to your brain. Now, it wouldn't go to your brain if it's below your neck, and if it's a reflex reaction, it goes to your spinal cord. So when anything that's below your neck and your knee is below your neck, so it goes to your spinal cord here, and the information goes from your spinal cord, a little loop back, an association loop back down to your knee. And what happens? It goes to the muscles in your leg and tells your leg to kick up. Temperature receptors in the skin. So we've got a person here badly burning themselves on a pan. And what is their response? They pull their hand back. You can see them pulling their hand back here immediately. Now, you don't get time to think about that. It's a reflex reaction. It doesn't go to your brain. Remember, if it's below your neck, it doesn't go to your brain. So you touch the hot object. The information, so what are we putting in here? Stimulus, hot pan, you've burnt yourself. Temperature receptors in the skin go along a sensory neuron, a big long neuron, all the way up to your spinal cord. Doesn't go to your brain, you don't think about it. It does a loop back at your spinal cord. So what are we writing in here? Association neuron in the spinal cord. Goes back down along a muscle in your arm to here, and you pull your arm back. So the effector is the muscle here, your bicep, and your arm response. Pull your hand away from the hot object. Last one, pain receptors in the skin. What was I thinking for this one? So you may just, start an attack. Somebody starting on attack. Or you could say here, dust gets in your eyes and you blink. So do one of those for the last one. So either dust in your eyes, causing pain, you start rubbing your eyes, and that's very sore. Or you stand on attack, pain receptors in the skin detect pain in your skin. Sensory neuron, you write sensory neuron in here. Which part is it? Well, if you're doing the dust in your eye, it's above your neck, so it goes to your eyelids and you blink. So brain here, motor neuron, your eyelid, the muscles in your eyelids for effector, response as you blink. Or if you're standing on attack, the stimulus is the pain that you stand on attack. The receptor is the pain receptors in your skin. Send the information all the way up from your toe where you've stood on it to your spinal cord at the back. It does a little loop around. You don't think about it. You jump before you've had time to get the injury in your foot. You jump. Motor neuron, you write motor neuron in there. Effector, the muscle in your leg. Response, you jump. Now, guys, I want you for all of these, at the end of it, you'll be sitting thinking, is she cheating? No. Every one of these will say motor neuron. Every one of these will say an association neuron either in your brain or in your spinal cord. And every one of these will say motor neuron. So sensory neuron here, motor neuron there, association neuron there. And it spells this word, SAM, S-A-M. Sensory neuron, association neuron, motor neuron. And we'll be teaching you more about that reflex arc the next day. So your work is to fill in your table with that information. Do that today and get that sent, a picture of that sent up to me.